guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are going to be looking at the new Natasha Denona Mini Love Palette. I know this is a couple weeks old now, but I got it in the mail and then I got really busy and I had other videos to film and then I forgot about it. But then I thought, what's more perfect than to post it around Valentine's Day, because it is the Love Palette or Mini Love Palette, part of the Love collection. Here I would post it around Valentine's Day because it is a pink toned palette, so perfect for Valentine's Day. So we are going to be swatching, doing 3 different looks with the palette, and then I'm going to go over my first impressions and review of the palette. So if you are new here, I would love it if you would hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of my videos, and let's get started. So this collection came with the mini palette, a mini blush duo, or that might have been a full-size duo, and then a lipstick. So I only got the mini palette because I love her palettes and I don't need any more blush palettes, or the lipstick because I have way too many nude-ish, pinkish lipsticks, so I didn't get those. But here is the palette. Like I said, I love her mini palettes. I haven't had any issues with them before. I know some people are kind of iffy with them about the formula, but I've never had any issues. I love this color story. I love the pinks, and I love that there's 2 purples in here. I love wearing purples, as I have mentioned a million times before. So I love that both colors are included in here, and I think this champagne shade is also gorgeous. So let's just get this swatched first. So here are the 5 shades in the palette. The names are You Are My True Love. So it is You Are My True Love. So there are 2 mattes and then 3 shimmers, but this one, You, is pretty much just glitter. It does have a pink undertone, but it is very glittery. It's not like a shimmer like these 2 over here. These are more shimmers, whereas this is more of a glitter shade. They all swatch beautifully. The mattes are a little bit tougher to swatch, but I feel like I'm terrible at swatching in general, so can't really fault that, but they are so beautiful. I love all of the tones in the palette. I was so excited when I got this. I knew I had to do multiple looks with it, so I did 3 different looks. This is the 3rd look that I did today, so that will also be in there, but I did 2 other looks with the palette as well. I love that you can do multiple looks with this palette, even though there are only 5 shades. You can do so many things, and I love that. So with that being said, let's get into the tutorial. First, I'm going in with the shade R, and I am just running this all over my crease, and I'm just using a big fluffy brush. This is a really nice purple shade, so this is a great crease shade for me. So I'm just kind of pulling it a little bit higher up, almost to my brow bone, but not exactly. But I'm just going to blend, 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 and I'm going to keep adding this color. I really want to be able to see the purple tone to it, so I do have to add quite a bit to it. It's not crazy pigmented, but it's not super light. I'm just very light-handed with how I apply. I really like how this applied. I think it blends very nicely, and it is such a pretty color. So I'm just adding more of that color just to get that purpley tone to show up more on my eyes. And then I'm just blending away. After that, I'm going in with the shade U, which is the first shimmer shade in the palette, and I'm just putting that all over my lid. I am just using my finger. I decided to not use a brush or wet it. There is some fallout when you use this shade, so do keep that in mind. I haven't tried wetting it yet, but I probably should to see how that would work, but so far, I do really like it on the eyes. It is pretty glittery. There isn't much to the base color of this, but it is still gorgeous. And then I'm going in with the shade My, which is the dark purple matte in the palette, and I am just putting this in the outer corner. And I'm kind of putting it up into my crease, but only in the outer V, and I don't really want it to be too pigmented, but I still want it to show up so you can actually tell that that purple shade is there. I'm then taking that same shade and running it on my lower lash line, And I had to do this a couple times just so you can get that purple really nicely on that lower lash line. And then I'm taking the last shade in the palette, which is Love, and I'm taking my pinky and I am putting that right on the inner corner of my lid. I'm not really going towards the center, but I'm just pulling it slightly over. And then I'm taking that same shade and I'm just putting it on my lower lash line, but just on the inner corner. Then I'm taking the champagne shade True, and that is what I'm putting on my inner corner. This is such a gorgeous champagne shade, and I'm also putting it on my brow bone to highlight there. It is a gorgeous shade. I'm then taking a purple eyeliner that I'm running on my waterline, and then that is the completed look. That is a mix of all 5 of the shades. For look 2, I'm starting with the same first shade, which is the shade R, and I'm just putting that all over my crease, and I'm just blending it pretty much everywhere with a pretty fluffy brush. I want it to really come up on my lid, so I'm just going to be adding a lot of this color and blending away. I feel like all I'm doing is blending in these videos, but that's what you gotta do. I just work really slowly with eyeshadows, so I like to build it up and start with a really light hand and then just keep building to the pigment I want. Then I'm going in with the shade My, and I'm using a flat shader brush, and I'm going to put that all over my lid. So like I said, I do go very light-handed with shadows, so I do this a couple times just to get the dark purple to come out the way I want it. I really want this to be very, very purple all over my lid. So I blend it a little bit with that brush just so it gets into my crease a bit, but I don't really want it to go any higher than that. So I do really want it to stay right on my lid, but I want to get that dark purple tone. So I do go over it a couple times. I really like how the shade performs. I don't think it's patchy at all. When you put enough of the shadow on your brush, then it applies really, really nicely. Even layering it like I did, I still think it looks really nice, and I think it performed really well. I'm taking a brush with nothing on it, and I'm just blending those colors together just so there's no harsh line on my crease. I'm then taking the shade U, which is the first shimmer shade, and I'm putting that all over the lid over the dark purple shade. When I knew that this shade was pretty much just glitter and it wasn't really a pink undertone, I thought it would be really pretty over this dark purple, and it really is. It kind of takes away the purple, of course, but I really like how it looks. And then I just took that same brush that I was using before to blend them out. And I'm taking the shade Love, and I'm putting that on my lower lash line. And I'm kind of just patting this on my lower lash line since it's a shimmer shade. I don't want the shimmer to go everywhere, and I also don't want to blend the shimmer out. So I'm just taking a small brush and kind of tapping it all over my lower lash line. Then I'm taking the shade True, and I'm putting that in my inner corner, and I am also highlighting my brow bone with that shade. I did the same thing in look 1, but this is the perfect shade for this, especially for my skin tone. It just looks beautiful in those spots to highlight the face, the eyes. And then I'm using a pink eyeliner for my waterline, and then onto mascara, and that is the final look 2. I really like how it turned out, and I definitely like it better in real life. I think it's just really beautiful. That purple is gorgeous. Starting off the third look, I'm going in with the shade R in my crease, same as the other looks, of course. And I'm just pulling this pretty much all the way up to my brow bone. I really want this all over my crease. But I'm also going to use this shade as the start of the halo eye that I want to do. So I'm going to also pull this into the inner and outer corners of my lid. So I do really want that purple shade, so I'm going to go over this quite a bit. I don't want that really light pastel-y shade. I really want that purple tone. So I do go over this quite a few times just to really get that pigment that I really want. I do the same thing when I add the color into the inner corner and outer corners of my eyes. I really want that color all over those areas of my eyes. I do spend a good amount of time really blending this shade and adding more just to make sure I get the pigment that I want. And as I have said previously, I do tend to go a little bit light-handed, so I like starting off with a light tint and then just keep adding color on to get that pigment. And then I'm going in with the shade My, and that is the darker matte purple, and I'm just putting that a little bit more towards the center of my lid, and that's going to be the next shade in the halo eye. And then I'm also going to put that in my crease, but lower than the first purple matte. So I'm using a little bit of a pointed brush just to make sure I'm a little bit more accurate with this shade, and I want it to really go in between that purple and then the middle tone that I'm going to put in, or the second middle tone shade. So I'm just kind of putting this on both sides of the center of my lid and pulling it up to my crease. I'm then taking that first purple shade and I'm just blending it a lot more in the crease just to blend those two together. Then I'm taking the shade Love, which is the pink shimmer in the palette, and I'm just putting that right next to the dark purple, more towards the center of my lid. So this is going to be the next shade in the halo eye. This one was definitely a little bit more difficult to work with because it was not coming off as well on the eye as I would have hoped. So I did try this like 4 different times. I tried to wet the brush and it still wasn't really applying really nicely, and you couldn't really see the pink. I did then try going in with my finger and that did apply it better, but it did kind of blend out completely when I added the purple later on. But this is still my second or third attempt to try and get that pink to really stay on my eye and not blend out completely when I put the brush on there, so that one was a little bit frustrating to work with. I'm then taking the dark purple again and I'm just blending those two shades together and adding more of the dark purple pigment. I really love that dark purple. That's probably my favorite shade in the palette. And then I'm taking the light purple again and then just blending more into the crease. Then I'm taking the shade True, and that is going to be right in the center of my lid. So that's going to be the center of the halo. I love that champagne shade. And then I'm also highlighting my inner corner and my brow bone with that shade. Then I'm taking the first purple shade, shade R, and I'm running that all over my lower lash line. And then I'm taking My, and I'm just putting that right along my lash line, so a little bit closer to the lashes. The first one was a little bit lower just to blend those out. And then I'm taking a purple liner and that completes the look. So that is the third and final look. So there are the 3 looks. I loved all 3 of the looks that I did. I think they all turned out beautifully. I really like the second one. I like that glitter shade on top of the purple. I think it looks really cool. This one, I wanted it to look a lot different than it does. The pink shade is not really showing up on the eyes, which is kind of frustrating. I added that shade like 8 times and it was not staying, so that was a problem. I didn't use that all over the lid in any other look actually. Not sure why, but I put that on my lower lash line and it was fine. But for this look, it was just not sticking. I love the champagne shade. I love the purple shade. This glittery one has a lot of fallout, so keep that in mind. Both times I used it, I didn't wet it or anything, so I did get a decent amount of fallout, but you can kind of expect that from a glitter shadow. But both of the mattes are beautiful and that champagne shade is so good. So I'm going to be using the pink shade on my lid, probably the next look I do, just to see how it looks, because I mean, can you even see pink on my lid? I don't think so. I tried doing some sort of halo, which it kind of still is with the champagne shade, but I wanted the pink to go in between the purple and the champagne, and it just did not work. So that was frustrating. But other than that, I think the palette is gorgeous. I love all of these tones. It was a perfect combination of colors, and I liked how at least most of them performed. We will see about the pink one, the next look I do. We will see if it looks any different. But I have so much fun doing these videos. I do have another one coming actually, because I just got a palette in the mail, so I will be doing this again. I just think it's so much fun. And also, if you've seen my nails, I did my Valentine's Day nail art tutorial on my channel, so if you have not seen that, I will link that down below so you can check it out. I love doing nail art for the holidays. I just think it's so much fun to do. I will be doing another one for St. Patrick's Day, so that will be coming. Anyway, let me know down below if you guys picked up this palette or any of the products from the collection, what your thoughts are or anything like that. I would love to hear it because I do really like this palette. That completes this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please give it a thumbs up if you did enjoy and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.